Okay, we're live. Well, hopefully the second time is a charm here. My sincere apologies. When technology doesn't work, it starts to make me very angry. So I'm going to just let go of all the anger and get into what we're doing here. I gave a fantastic opening. I was talking for about 10 minutes, and then our customer support people said, "Hey, we're not live." Uh-oh, I'm getting another ping. Let me make sure it's okay. We are live. Okay, good. This time it's working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spare you the whole opening. I'll recap it real quick because the bottom line is many of you are very excited about the special guest. You have so many questions, so I'm going to spend as much time there as possible. But let me just share a couple of things. Number one, again, very, very sorry for the challenges to the technology. For whatever reason, there was a disconnect. We had to reset everything up, and then now it's working. So I don't have any rhyme or reason for it, and that's one of the downsides of live events. This is not like pre-recorded, and we're just pretending it's live. It's actually live. So the good part about that is that there's a certain magic or energy when things are live. The downside is when something goes wrong, it causes delays. So we just take it as a package deal. So Supplements Revealed was an extraordinary experience for us, all of us at Revealed Films. And in part, not just because going through the actual production of this was so life-enhancing and eye-opening, but the feedback that we've been getting from you out there, all the viewers all over the world, were some of the best comments we've ever gotten on a docuseries that we've done, and we've done many of them. But you really delivered comments that were like in the realm of it was life-changing, how much you learned, this is great content, tons of appreciation. Why that's gratifying, I'll tell you, is because many times we do docuseries, of course, we are passionate about all of them. And a lot of times the comments are, wow, this is really beautiful, or some of the scenery was beautiful. And of course, we like it when we're putting things out in the world that look aesthetically very, very nice. But we also want them to have an impact on your life. So in this particular case, there was a lot of feedback about just how much you were taking away. What's important to me and what's important to all of us at Revealed Films is that you are impacted in a way that isn't just stimulating in the moment, but actually has an impact on you, your loved ones, people you care about, that the information that you're getting, it can be life-enhancing, life-changing, and many times even life-saving. So I want to just thank you for all those really gracious comments. We are looking to deliver as much value as we possibly can. As you can see, we're really through the arc here. We've done all 9 episodes. We had the replay weekend this past weekend. And also we had over the weekend, we had the live broadcast. It was a 4-hour live marathon. So for all of you who tuned in for that, thank you. At the end of that, and Dr. Ed Group was one of the guests. He had dozens of questions from people who were out there viewing, who basically, we couldn't get to all of them. So I asked Dr. Group if he would come back for this live webcast tonight. He graciously said yes, and I say graciously because you should know he's not paid to do anything. He didn't get paid to sit for the interview. He volunteered his time. He didn't get paid to take time on Saturday to be with us during the live broadcast. He volunteered his time. He's volunteering his time again tonight. So I just want to say before I bring him in how much we really appreciate him and how much the audience in Revealed, this entire Supplements Revealed community, how they've really thrived on the information and the context that Dr. Group has brought. I learn from him every time I listen to him, and I'm sure you do also. So if you're out there, and incidentally, I'm viewing the Facebook thread that's underneath this viewing box. I have to tell you, a lot of you checked in. Thank you. I'll maybe do some shout outs in a little while, but I want to save it some time. And I'm sorry because a lot of you are saying, hey, is it happening? I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. So hopefully now you're hearing and seeing stuff, and we can really start to get this train on the track. Last thing I'll tell you before we bring Dr. Group up is that we're coming to the end of the viewing period, the free viewing period for Supplements Revealed. We have a 71% discount on the gold package. If you looked at it, there are extraordinary amounts of bonuses in that package. I'm talking about products, hard things like they're real that have great value. As a matter of fact, the bonuses are worth way in excess of what it costs to own that gold package. I want to encourage you to invest in Supplements Revealed. I think having that in your library, having it available to you as a resource whenever you need it is going to be extraordinary. I know personally I'm going to be going back and revisiting a lot of this information over time. So many different subjects that range in every particular aspect of health and supplementation. It's really important information to have at your fingertips, and we really look for the best experts in their realms that we could possibly find. So, as one of our guests said one time, he said, for peanuts you can own this whole thing. I think the bonuses push it way over the edge. So if you haven't invested yet, take a look now, because that 71% discount will only last through the viewing period. So that's it. Keep posting. Our customer service people are looking at what you're posting, and they're going to be feeding us questions and comments. We will get to as many as we can. We had an extraordinary amount. I think they said like over 1,000 questions and comments just during that live, TV telecast that we did on Saturday. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions and comments tonight, but we're going to hit them fast. So we'll stay tight. I'm still going to try to get us done close to the time that we're scheduled, because I know people probably arrange their schedules in such a way. So with all of that, let me bring up here Dr. Ed Group. Dr. Group, here you are again, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Things happen when you deal with technology, but you know what? I'm just blessed, and I'm grateful to be part of Supplements Revealed. And my mission is to help as many people as I can. And it's great to be a part of your organization. And I love doing this. I love dedicating my time and effort to educating and answering questions and going live, and just being able to have that one-on-one connection and bring that knowledge to anybody who's willing to listen or learn.
So, well, I so appreciate your attitude. I know that Saturday you came from your house. Looks like today you're at your office. So thank you so much that's such a beautiful attitude to bring, and you're really serving and helping a lot of people. So I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. We've got tons of comments. So I think hopefully people are now figuring out how to get in. So I'm going to jump into some of the questions. When you see me looking off this way, so I have a 50-inch monitor in front of me, and I'm looking at Dr. Group and myself right here. I'm looking in the camera right now by you right there. But when I'm looking over here, I'm seeing the customer service has got a thread up over here on a sheet that I can look at, and I can scroll down and start looking at these questions. And I think we're just going to hit them tight questions, hopefully tight answers. And we'll get through as many as we can. And at the same time, keep posting, because they're going to be collecting. There's people standing by. When you post on the thread that's below my video here, there's people watching that thread who are going to take it and then put it on the sheet where I can see it. So we got a little bit of a system here, even though sometimes the technology doesn't work. So anyway, so here we go. So I'm going to just start with Susan, who asked this. Hey, Patrick and Dr. Ed Group. My question for you is, what are common filler ingredients that one might overlook, and which ones should you stay away from? Magnesium stearate was mentioned in the series as being a filler and potentially causes cancer, but is it in a lot of supplement products? That's probably a great question, Dr. Group. So what do you have to say about that one?
The easy answer to that is anything that you don't know what it is, or that's not plant-based, or that it might be some sort of a 2-word ingredient. Most likely that can be toxic because it's a man-made ingredient and not a earth-made ingredient. Magnesium stearate, for sure. I mean, that clogs up the liver. That's something you want to look at. Just right off the bat, one of the things that I do when I pick up a supplement, the first thing I look at is the other ingredients and the fillers and the excipients, because that'll tell you right off the bat how good the company is. We actually were one of the first companies to reinvent that over 20 years ago. I did not want to use mag stearate. I did not want to use silicon dioxide. I did not want to use titanium dioxide or any of these, filler or excipient ingredients. So we actually went to the drawing board and figured out and spent a lot of time doing R&D to figure out how we could use natural substances or prebiotics or different things to use without those toxic ingredients in them. The second thing I would take a look at is what of the vitamins in there are very low quality or synthetic. For example, one of the things I look at, the first thing I look at is the B12. If it's cyanocobalamin, I know that pretty much the supplement is really cheap and all the ingredients are going to be can actually harm you. I mean, the thing is, if you buy supplements at most drugstores, at most supermarkets, and you don't have a little bit of knowledge of the ingredients in them, they can actually do you harm. They can clog up your system. I mean, I've seen x-rays of people that have taken pills 2 years, 3 years ago, and you can see them in the x-ray stuck up in the folds of the intestinal lining that they've never broken down.
Hmm.
And that can just clog up your system and cause toxicity. So another thing I look for is vitamin E, DL alpha tocopherol succinate would be a synthetic form of vitamin E. And by the way, when the pharmaceutical companies and the medical companies come out with all these studies saying, oh, vitamin C doesn't work, or calcium doesn't work to increase bones, or vitamin E doesn't work, what they do is they do these studies using these synthetic types of vitamins. Another one more thing I look for is calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is chalk. If you see calcium carbonate in a product, you might as well just throw it away. It's not going to do any good for you. So you can also look for dyes. You look for companies now are finding these ways to hide ingredients. A good example of that would be MSG. They can hide it under natural flavorings, yeast, all these different names. So everything really boils down to education if you think about it. One of the things is just educating yourself on these ingredients, typing them in online, learning about how to read a label. That should be taught in schools to our children. But, the majority of stuff out there is toxic. So, and that's really the root cause of the diseases and the negative health conditions that we're all dealing with is chemical and synthetic and toxic ingredients.
Well, thank you very much, and I think that is an ongoing problem. So, and that's what makes it a great question. A lot of times we're looking to invest in supplements to improve our health, and we end up getting things into our body that are not helping us. So good to know. Here is another question. This actually it's interesting. It's a question just about your product specifically. So let's answer that one. Are many or all of your food supplements biodynamic? Do you have an outlet in the UK? So that's just targeted directly to you.
They're not biodynamic. So we came up with a new terminology about 7 or 8 years ago. It's called quantum dynamic farming because we practice all the organic methods, right? But we go way above organic, and we also biodynamic principles. Now, I am a fan of biodynamic. It's above and beyond. It's above and beyond organic. But we wanted to go even above and beyond biodynamic. So we created a new type of farming system, an agricultural system called quantum dynamic farming. And that uses technology like Dan Carlson's sonic bloom to open up the stoma of the plants, to clear the air, to energize the dew in the mornings. We looked at using structured water devices to water the plants, using ceramic blades to cut it, using meditation in the fields, making sure everybody is in a good positive attitude when they harvest the plants, still incorporating the organic methods and incorporating the biodynamic methods, but even going back thousands of years and using paramagnetic properties like basalt or azomite, and using different types of soil-based microorganisms and just taking it to a whole nother level. So we wish that every farm was like that, that could really, recycle everything and use permaculture and use really good sustainable practices. Unfortunately, there's very, 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 very few farms that use that. So what we try to focus on is getting the highest quality, highest vibrational, highest energetic raw materials that we possibly can for our
Great.
product.
Thank you. Why am I getting an
Oh,
echo?
for the UK outlet, yes. You can get our products on Amazon UK, and we do have a few distributors over there as well. Those, I'm not sure if they're listed on our site or not, but I could probably get that information to you.
Great. Thank you. This one comes with a. I'm suddenly getting. Are you hearing an echo too or no? Are
What's that?
you hearing an echo?
I did for a minute, but I'm okay now.
Okay, good. So here's one. My husband had just finished a round of antibiotics for pneumonia. He has congestive heart failure, COPD, a full-on pacemaker, and isn't as into natural health as I am. He takes the supplements I dole out, but all the prescription meds the doctors push. I read somewhere in the last few days that anyone who has recently been on antibiotics will be affected more so, and even those in the same household, even though they didn't take them personally. So my question is, are we both as vulnerable to serious outcome with this virus? I don't know if they're talking about corona virus. That must be what she's referring to. But I guess what would you recommend? So now you got somebody obviously is not very healthy. They have a pacemaker. They got they just went through they had pneumonia, taking a bunch of antibiotics. What might be a good recovery protocol? And then maybe what we'll do is ask the second question, which is on everybody's mind. I think I'll just say on the coronavirus, I think everything's way overblown. People are way too panicked. I mean, I'm probably going to write up something and send it out to the list, but if people are saying I want to boost my immunity, during this time in a natural way, what can I do? So let's answer the antibiotic, COPD pneumonia question first. As far as maybe what a good follow up would be from a nutritional protocol, and let's talk about boosting immunity.
Yeah, so this is a common question that we get times a day with the antibiotics, with the COPD, with the pacemaker, all of that stuff. You're doing a really good job giving supplements for that. However, usually in a case when someone has all of those things going on, what really works the best is to take two steps back and to clean them out really well. Because my question is always, well, what is the root cause of the COPD? What is the root cause of why that individual had to take antibiotics? And it's just because the self-healing mechanism is suppressed. We have the ability, I tell people this all the time. It's like we have such a powerful healing system in our body. It's way more powerful than any pharmaceuticals, way more powerful than any nutraceuticals. I mean, I've studied 25 years of healing, traveled around, talked to doctors all over the world, studied even instantaneous healings where people go in, it's a big evangelical church or something, and they were paralyzed or whatever, and then all of a sudden they're completely healed. There's massive amounts of cases in the last 100 years that you can read about. It just goes to show you that the body can actually heal itself instantaneously. And we're getting more and more involved into the energy medicine and into the vibrational frequencies, because that's really the core of all healing, is nothing more than vibration and frequency. That's exactly what Einstein said. It's exactly what Tesla said. And everything living has a vibrational frequency to it. If you eat dead foods, if you just take what you do every single day, are you doing more things every single day to raise your vibrational frequency, or are you doing more things every single day to lower your vibrational frequency? So what I would recommend is always starting with it doesn't matter what condition you're dealing with, always starting with cleansing the body. It's absolutely amazing what happens when you just clean everything out. And we always start with the intestinal tract, cleansing that, doing liver and gallbladder cleanses, then moving on to parasites and harmful organisms, and then chemicals and heavy metals. Once your body is clean, your self-healing mechanism starts to reactivate, of course, cleaning up the environment and cleaning up the food and everything you're putting into the body, especially the bathroom in your home, the bedroom in your home, and the kitchen in your home, making sure that you clean all of those up and make them a very green, toxin-free environments. The thing with antibiotics is antibiotics can destroy your intestinal probiotic and your microflora, and it can take 6 months to repair that. If people just understood that their body can heal itself, for example, you could fast on water only for 3 days straight and pretty much knock out anything that you're suffering from. Antibiotics, you could naturally, one of the reasons why they put people on 8 days or 12 days of antibiotics is because they already know that your body will naturally heal itself in about 10 or 12 days anyway, right? It's like what it does is it knocks out your immune system. Your immune system is in your gut. I mean, the core of your immune system is in your gut. And what do antibiotics do? They knock out your immune system. It's just insane when you think about that. And now I know people in different countries, I've been getting messages that for preparation or to prevent themselves from getting the coronavirus, they're taking antibiotics. And I'm like, antibiotics? It's a virus. Why are you taking antibiotics? That's knocking your immune system out. So what I would recommend, and I'll just touch on the COPD issue. Nikola Tesla developed a machine called the Vapozone machine, and it was sold in Sears Roebuck and Company, I think in the 1940s or the 1950s. It is the most amazing machine you will ever find for respiratory issues. And talking about viruses and getting in the lungs and pneumonia and bronchial and everything, that can be another giveaway that I can give to you, Patrick, for how people can build their own machine or how they can purchase that equipment. I would highly recommend doing that right now. Mm-hmm. We did studies on that years ago with heavy smokers that their lungs were completely tarred up, black. And within a month and a half of doing the Vapozone device, their lungs were clear like a 20-year-old. It's the only thing. How it works is you put special oils in there, and Nikola Tesla developed this specific glass-type tube, and you run ozone through it, and as it comes out a vapor, it's almost like vaping, right? But it's a special molecular compound that gets into the lungs. It's incredible. I always recommend when I hear somebody with COPD or anybody that wants to protect the lungs. And by the way, I mean, if you live in a big city, I mean, the air quality everywhere with the chemtrails and all the stuff that's being put into the air. To me, it's like people say, what's one thing that you recommend that we should all have? You hear people coughing all the time. People have respiratory issues all the time. That is one device every single household should have. They made them take it off because it was working so good that they stopped selling it at Sears Roebuck. And I think that they had some sort of an issue with the AMA and they stopped selling it. So that addresses the COPD. And then for immune strength is another program that I can give to you that we've put together from dealing with different types of things. I was actually contacted by people in China regarding the coronavirus personally. Same thing happened during the SARS. We developed certain programs for that to strengthen your immune system, since we're not actually allowed to say anything. Everything is being censored online right now. All the naturopathic doctors, everybody that's putting out good information and just mentioning coronavirus, it's being censored. So you kind of have to go behind the scenes to get the good information. I'll be happy to share with everybody what we probiotics, immune system is in your gut, heavy probiotics, silver, iodine, fasting if it comes down to it, vitamin C, chaga mushroom, selenium is one of the best things in the world to take to neutralize any type of viral compounds, and just keeping yourself healthy and relaxed and in a stress-free environment. Those are some of the key ones. There's other things as well.
Yeah, if you've got a document on this, that's terrific. We'll just send it to all the viewers. If you got a document, we could circulate that they can actually read and digest, that'd be great. So thank you for offering that, and for the customer service people watching, let's make sure we get that document and let's get it out to this whole audience. So thank you for that. Here's Leah Nichols. I had it right the first time. She is asking, what do you recommend for an osteoporosis protocol? Can you reverse osteoporosis with clean eating, good supplementation, and weight-bearing exercise?
Everything is reversible. Last year, and had the privilege of going in and talking with some doctors that were using some stem cells. People think that stem cells these days are still from fetal aborted, fetuses. Nobody uses anything like that. They're either culturing from your own fat cells, they're culturing them from your blood. And in Thailand, the laws are not so restrictive, so they can actually take the amniotic fluid from healthy babies and healthy mothers, and they monitor these moms for the whole time during pregnancy and make sure they're eating healthy and everything. And it's incredible what I saw, like even paraplegics that were paralyzed from the neck down, that were beginning to regain and walk again. They're growing hearts and livers and stuff like that anybody can put in their system. But that's just one thing. My honest opinion is you really don't need a lot to heal the body. Talking about osteoporosis, the first thing I would do is detoxify everything, and so you can allow the body to heal itself. It's more about allowing the body to heal itself, because when you look at all of these conditions and you look at the root cause of why you have these, it's because of the congestion, it's because of the inflammation, it's because of the toxemia that you have in your system, that the body starts breaking down. When you're eating toxic food, toxic beverages, you're under a lot of stress, you're exposed to electromagnetic radiation, your home is toxic, your office is toxic, and you're not cleaning. See, we're taught to clean everything all the time from an early age. Like, we wash our clothes, we take a shower, we clean up the dishes. But the one thing that they never want us to know, and I say they, it would be the medical organization, is so we continually have diseases and we can fund that whole, let's treat the symptoms and not the disease scenario, is they never teach us how to clean the inside of our bodies. And, that is the main key factor of healing that I've found. It's the fastest way, besides water-only fasting, which, the animals do when they break a bone in the forest. And they sit there and they lay there and they dry fast, and they can heal a bone in like 4 to 6 days, where it takes us 8 to 12 weeks and we still have scar tissue and everything else. The fastest way that I've found to heal anything is water-only fasting, but that's not saying that that's the only way. Every naturopathic doctor, every chiropractor, every functional medicine doctor that has really, really good success rates at teaching the patient how to heal themselves, because the true definition of a doctor should be a teacher, not a prescriber. Your job as a doctor is, let me walk you through the process and explain to you why you have osteoporosis and then what you need to do to heal that osteoporosis. Today, I still, for years, ask people, can you explain to me why you have cancer? Can you explain to me why you have heart disease? Can you explain to me why you have diabetes? And every single time they say, no, I don't know why. Say, well, didn't your doctor explain to you why you have that? Those 10 symptoms you're suffering from? Well, they don't really know. They're just giving me stuff for my symptoms. Well, if I need to rewire the electricity in my home, I'm going to have to learn about how to do it first. So that there's a certain empowerment and self-confidence level that gives those individual patients or clients the strength and the willpower and the faith and the hope that they can actually heal themselves. So it's a process that you go through. But for osteoporosis, there's always the first step, in my opinion, is to clean everything out and reactivate the body's self-healing mechanism. And then you can take the minerals and take everything that you need, the proper type of calcium, which I like calcium orotate. One of the best mineral doctors in the world was a guy named Dr. Hans Nieper. He wrote the book called The Curious Man, which I highly recommend. And it talks about mineral transport systems. So, people think, oh, I have osteoporosis, I just need to take a bunch of calcium. Well, you might not be absorbing that calcium. You might not be utilizing that calcium. The liver might be, which it is, congested, and it's not able to break down the calcium so it can be utilized correctly. So I always think of like the cause first and educate people on what they can do for that. And then the body takes over and starts healing itself and healing itself and healing. I believe, and I've seen firsthand, every single thing completely reversed. Even now, they're working on genetic things like Down syndrome, and they're having success with that. I'm mostly talking about acquired conditions that we've caused to happen within ourselves over a period of time.
So let's enter into the lightning round a little bit here. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions and let's try to get like the tight answers and get through as many as we can.
Right.
This one's so this is from Yolanda Russell. She asks, I hear the echo again. It must be when my mic is down for a while. It has to equilibrate. So I'm sorry for the echo if anybody's hearing that. She asks, if you were just starting, this is a great question. If you were just starting your supplement journey, where would you start? So somebody would say, this is kind of new to me. And we've already, I think, established first thing to do is to cleanse your systems, go through, detoxification so that your body can absorb. So let's say they did, intestinal detox, a liver detox, maybe, went for parasites, et cetera. And typically, instead, you want to do those with, a doctor who specializes in such things. You're probably, if you don't really understand it that well, you don't want to try to do that stuff on your own. But now, okay, so let's assume that doctor group, and then let's say, okay, so where would I start my particular journey? Like, what would you recommend for this person?
I'll try to keep this quick. What we've noticed is after the cleansing process takes place, you might have additional things that popped up that you might want to deal with. But for the basic, I would say always start with, I would take a really good multivitamin and mineral formula. I take the Intramax by Dr. Drucker. I don't even make it, but it's a carbon bonded a multivitamin mineral herbal supplement. Number two, I would say probiotics and keeping the probiotics, a good oxygen-based intestinal cleanser, because in reality, everything starts in the gut. All disease starts in the gut and all health begins in the gut. So a good probiotic, an oxygen-based cleanser, a good multivitamin and mineral, and then the last thing I would say to start would be iodine. And I say iodine because pretty much everybody is deficient in iodine. And with the toxic levels of bromide and chlorine and fluoride that are out there, and how it completely just wreaks havoc on the body, the thyroid, the endocrine system, all of the glandular tissue, the pineal gland, which becomes calcified. That would be, in my opinion, if someone said, where do I start? I would start with the basics of that. And then maybe look at working with a naturopath or working with somebody that can do a really good history and taking it further and trying to determine what else you might possibly need.
Perfect. Thank you. This is from Debbie. For someone with peripheral neuropathy in the toes, and where the neurologist said there is no cause that he can see, definitely not diabetes, that is probably due to genetic factors, what advice or hope is there? Is there something that can be done proactively from a functional medicine point of view?
So, when doctors, there's always a root cause to everything. When they say that there's no cause to that, they just don't understand. A peripheral neuropathy, it could be a deficiency in B vitamins. It could be that you're were in an accident or something, you could sleep wrong. I mean, I would definitely recommend going to see a chiropractor. I would definitely recommend acupuncture. I would definitely recommend cleansing the body. Definitely recommend meditation. Trying to figure out what the root cause that it is that may be causing that peripheral neuropathy, and working with to try to regenerate the nervous system. Also fasting, intermittent fasting, things that regenerate your nervous system really rapidly, magnetic therapy, near infrared, far infrared saunas, ozone. That would be a lot longer of trying to get into. Let's try to determine what it is that's causing your peripheral neuropathy. However, that could have actually been something to do with vaccine damage too. You sometimes see that with. So I would need to find out a little bit more information, but that's where I would start, and to always keep hope and faith in mind, and not necessarily believe everything you hear.
Amen. So Miriam asked, quick one, Dr. Coop and Patrick, I had my gallbladder removed years ago. What supplements should I take to help my body absorb nutrients and other supplements? I'm 74.
So at 74, again, I would recommend going through all the cleansing processes. And what we found with people that don't have a gallbladder is that, or they should do at least 2 to 3 liver cleanse a year, because that means the liver is going to have to work extra hard to produce the bile and store the bile. So the liver also accumulates more stones because the gallbladder is gone. So we would just recommend that you continue to eat as much plant-based foods as you possibly can. Try to reduce any type of bad fats, and to try to increase your exercise a little bit. Open up your elimination routes, drink more water, get more sunlight, get more rest. But really, the main thing that we've seen with the removal of the gallbladder is the liver. The liver is just, in so many people, the liver is congested and only working at 15%, 20%. And everybody's liver needs to be working at 80% or above to be in good health. That's why it's so important to take good care of your liver.
Thank you. So we have several questions about, what can I do about, to prepare myself for coronavirus. So we already talked about that. We'll mail out Dr. Group's immunosupport advice. So rather than handle all those questions, I'll just make that blanket statement. We also have a lot of people that are asking questions about Lyme, like what they can do if they're struggling with Lyme. So I'll just do Lynn's, but hopefully this, for everybody who had a Lyme question, maybe this can be satisfying to you. What should I take for shortness of breath related to neurological Lyme?
We do have a document we can share with you as well on Lyme. I know, because we've worked with so many people over the years, and it's really sad that that people have to go through so much pain and discomfort, and it's so hard to find answers for Lyme. What we do first off, again, with everybody, is to go through a good history, and then try to get their self-healing mechanism to a state where they can eliminate the majority of the symptoms. And that the detoxification program that we use works wonders. We've also found that iodine, everybody's different, but usually somewhere in the range of 30 milligrams a day, helps tremendously with the breathing. The Vapozone, again, there's nothing that works as good as that. And addressing the different immune modulators and using different things to boost the immune system and to kill off any of those weird organisms that are associated with Lyme. So I would be happy to share that as well. That's a little bit longer of a discussion. We could probably talk about that for about an hour.
Yeah.
And to keep everything kind of going a little bit faster, just know this, that there is hope and there's faith that you can recover from Lyme. Many people have done so. And there are options available out there for you to be able to heal yourself.
Terrific. Thank you. Hang on, I had one right up here. So Alex Zvarich, I think is how you probably pronounce the last name, asked, what can you recommend for lowering blood pressure? Thank you.
So the best way to lower blood pressure is to clean the liver. Actually, we started finding that out. But if you think about everything in simplicity, right? When the liver becomes congested and it becomes overworked and it becomes full of stones and a bunch of toxic stuff, the heart has to pump faster and harder to push the blood through the liver. So imagine an oil filter in your car that's never been changed. Well, the engine would have to work, the oil pump would have to work extra and push it through. We started getting anecdotal evidence when a bunch of people with high blood pressure started doing liver cleanses, and all of a sudden their blood pressure started going back down. And it made sense. Over the years, I've learned to look at conditions in a more simple way than trying to analyze everything, scientifically and everything. It really is simple the way the body works and the way the body heals. If you just understand that, what could be causing high blood pressure? Yes, there's a stress component in there. There's an anxiety component in there. There's definitely a toxin component in there. But what we've found is that as soon as people do intestinal cleanse, maybe they have to do 2 liver and gallbladder cleanses. They clean up their diet, they clean up their environment, they start meditating, they start reducing their stress levels, blood pressure comes back down. As a matter of fact, Dr. Alan Goldhammer at his fasting clinic in California has done studies on high blood pressure and has over 98% success rate with water-only fasting, lowering blood pressure and kind of helping to regenerate the cardiovascular system.
So thank you for that. And I know we probably have time for one more here. Maybe it was a second if we go real fast. So I'm sorting through a lot of questions. Then thank you all for submitting them. And I'm like grouping because I see some of them are similar. So hopefully answering one will satisfy many. This is one that I think is worth asking because it involves the thyroid, and a lot of people are interested in thyroid health. So Dee Dee asked this. She said, I was told I have hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's disease, but don't have any symptoms, no antibodies. I have lots of energy, thick hair, and strong nails. I'm on Synthroid, but they don't know why the thyroid stopped. I'm wondering if it really did. They are totally confused, but said there's no explanation. An ultrasound was done and nothing showed up. I am a mystery. So can you do like 2 minutes, 3 minutes on thyroid health?
Yeah, that's another long conversation. I just spent like 3 days with Dr. Brownstein, and that's all we talked about was thyroid and endocrine. And the thing with the thyroid is that question comes up all the time because the doctors are not testing for bromide. They're not testing for fluoride toxicity, but really bromide toxicity. Bromide is the main culprit of the thyroid, and iodine deficiency is another big condition. So anytime you're looking, let me tell you, there are millions of people right now walking around with thyroid insufficiency and don't even know it. It is really becoming an epidemic. And same with fibrocystic breast disease, polycystic ovarian, prostate in males, any of the reproductive organs. All of that is nothing more than a deficiency and maybe a few other nutrients there. So What I would look at with the Synthroid, first of all, I mean, I would recommend getting on Nature Thyroid or Armor or some sort of a natural thyroid program. But even better than that, because that's still addressing the symptoms, and we want to address the root cause. Even better than that would be to start on iodine and start detoxifying the thyroid. It can take 6 months to detoxify the amount of bromide and chloride and fluoride that people have accumulated in the body. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but now, people are talking more and more and more about leaky brain syndrome. It used to just be leaky gut syndrome, but now it's leaky brain syndrome, and all this stuff is getting into the brain. And the only thing that's been able to detoxify the brain, detoxify mercury, aluminum, well, the fastest, in my opinion, there's a lot of chelation methods out there, but the only thing that's going to be able to pull those out, as well as fluoride, as well as bromide, as well as chlorine, is iodine. That's why I say it's vital, because it's very hard. Even if you're a raw vegan, even if you're eating organic foods, pull up a list of all the things that contain bromide or brominated compounds in your daily life on Google, and you will be amazed. From the stick shift in your car, to the steering wheel in your car, to the carpet in your car, to sprayed on the leather seats in your car, all your carpet, your couch, your memory foam mattress, your pillows. I mean, it is just crazy the amount of exposure that we have to these toxic halogens, these fire retardants, these endocrine disrupting chemicals. So identifying the root cause right there.
Well, brilliant as always. Thank you for sharing such a wide-ranging amount of expertise. We really did look at a lot of different issues here. For all of you, thank you, number one, for tuning in. Thank you, number two, for investing your time in Supplements Revealed. And for those who actually bought Supplements Revealed, thanks for supporting the work we do. That it's because you invest in this type of thing when you buy our series. We try to make it very affordable and also irresistible with the bonuses we have. And I think we've done that with this series better than any series we've done before. If you look at those bonuses, the discount is 71%, but it also, that's the fuel that keeps us going, and that we can continue to have these types of interactions, to send you more information and to continue to make new content for you. So really appreciate you tuning in and being here. Sorry for the technical stuff in the beginning. I really try to avoid that at all costs, but sometimes it's unavoidable. And for Dr. Ed Group, thanks so much for being here once again. We got through a lot more of the questions, so that was great. And just be on the lookout. Make sure you're monitoring your emails. We'll have more of these webcasts in the future. We'll be sending out information to you as we have it. And remember, for the people who actually invest in the gold package, you're also going to get a year's worth of additional content. That was a really big bonus. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I'm sure Dr. Group's going to be a part of that also. So just let's stay connected. We're coming to the end of the viewing period. So if you haven't gotten the series yet, now is the time. And we very much appreciate you. And I especially appreciate you taking the time to share kind words and express your gratitude. It really does give us the spiritual fuel we need to do this type of work. So it does matter. I know it's a big audience out there, but don't feel like, they probably don't care if I type a note or if I post a little something. We do care. We read them all, and it makes a big difference to us. So thank you so much for that. And again, Ed, thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to see you when you get to Park City, so we'll talk about that later. For everybody's on the broadcast, we're going to end now. And thank you very much for being here. It was a pleasure.